Today's lesson is Chapter 12, Lesson 2, Histograms. Our goal is to be able to construct and analyze histograms, so to be able to make them and then also describe them and talk about them. We have two terms for this lesson, histogram and then frequency distribution. Histogram is a type of bar graph used to display numerical data that have been organized into equal intervals. And then the frequency distribution is how many pieces of data are in each interval. So down here you can see the intervals, and then however much data is in each interval. So see, this one is at 8, this one is at 7, 1, 2, and 1. That's the frequency distribution. So you know how much is in between each kind of spread or each interval. Okay, and then here kind of explains the histogram and what each part means. So if you want to pause it and look at that, go right ahead. Okay, our first one, Alicia researched the average price of concert tickets. The table shows the results. So right here is an average price per ticket for a concert. So fill in the tally column and frequency column on the frequency table. So if it says the word frequency, that means how often, like how frequent does something happen. So for my first interval, I have from $25 to $49.99. So I'm going to check above to see if there's anything that falls within that range. Anything less than 50 and anything 25 or more. So I see that 47.22 falls in there. And then that's about it. So that is just one time, one tally, and then it happens once. Anywhere in between 50, so that could include 50, all the way to $74.99. So it could include $74.95. Anything in between those two numbers. So 83 wouldn't work. 68 would work, 1. 66 works, that falls in between 50 and $74.99. 51 works. 88.49 does not, that's too big. 62 falls in the range. $50.63 works. And then 59.58 would work as well. So 6 numbers fell into that range, so that happened 6 times. And then the rest, 75 all the way up to $99.99. Well, I know 83 falls in there. 88 works. And then, oh, I have one left over. So as you can see, since I crossed them out, I made a mistake there. So that one should go here, and that means my frequency is 7, and this is left with 2. And then these should total up with all the numbers that I have. So that should be 10. And I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers. Perfect. Okay, so for the first one it says refer to the histogram above. So up here this is the histogram, okay? And it says describe the histogram. How many remote control airplanes cost at least $100? So what we need to do is we have control of airplanes. And $100 is right here. Do you see that? $100 to $124.99, $125, and it goes all the way up to $174.99. So all of them that cost at least $100. So I'm going to go here and go forward. So this one is 2, 0, and then 1. So altogether that's 3 that cost at least $100. Then for A, refer to the histogram above. How many remote controls cost less than 75? So less than. So that means it can't include 75. So I'm going to go right here because this is 75 and it can't be 75. It has to be less. I'm going to go this way. This one it's in between 6 and 8 over here. And it's at 7. And then this one is at 9. So I add those together and I get 16. Okay, so notice how I used the histogram to help me answer my questions. You have to understand what it means and you have to be able to read the graph. Okay, so on this slide it's going to show you how to create a histogram. It says the table shows the number of daily visitors to selected state parks. Draw a histogram to represent the data. So your first step when you draw or create a histogram, which you need to be able to do, is to make a frequency table. Okay? So you use a scale from 100 through 399 with an interval of 50. So notice there's 50 numbers there, 50 here, and here, here, and here. They're all the same interval. They're all 50 apart. And they start at 100 and go all the way to 399. Okay? And then you go up here and you say, oh, 108 was in there, so you mark a tally. And then you can see any number in between 100 and 149. And where would that other one be? 100 and 149. 137. Okay, so that's where they got their 2. And then you'd keep going. So you'd make this table first. That's your first step. So you might want to write this down. Number 1 is to make a frequency table. And that's just to get everything organized first. And you have to make your intervals, your tallies, and then how many are in each interval. Step 2 says draw and label a horizontal and vertical axis. So horizontal is this way, like the horizon, and vertical is nice and tall like that. So they have that up here. It says include a title, daily visitors to state parks. They included a title. Show the intervals from the frequency table. So those same exact intervals are going to go right down here. Okay? And then you need to label the vertical axis, frequency, that means how many, and then also a label down here. So you have to have all those parts in order to have a successful table. And then step 3, you're going to draw, for each interval, draw a bar whose height is given by the frequencies. So remember, for that first interval we had 2, and then it was at 7, 8, 1, 1, and 1. Okay, so you would fill those in with a bar. Okay, for this one, I need to create a histogram, so I'm going to follow my steps. I'm given data up here, and now my first step is to put it into a frequency table. But first, before I can do that, I need to make some intervals for it to work. So I see that I have 4 spots to work with, so I want 4 intervals. And I see that my lowest number is 65, and my highest number is 98. So I need to include numbers all the way from 65 to 98 and make sure that my intervals are even. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in my 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. That's 4 intervals of 10. So 60 to 69, 70 to 79, 80 to 89, and 90 to 99. Those are my intervals of 10. Okay, now I'm going to go through and I'm going to see how many numbers fall in each interval. Okay, and I know that I have a total of, I have 4 down the side, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 across. So 4 times 7 is 28. So I have a total of 28 numbers. So by the end, over here, this should add up to 28. Okay, let's get started. So 60s first. I have 65, 68, so 2 in the 60s. Okay, 70 through 79. I have 72, 76. I'm going to do all my 70s, and I'm going to count as I go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 in the 70s. Okay, now in my 80s, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I do my tallies and then the frequency and then the 90s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now that should all add up to 28. Yep, 28. Perfect. So then I need to transfer that information over to my histogram. So the whole point of why I did all this. So I'm going to put my intervals at the bottom. 60 through 69, 70 through 79, 80 through 89, and then 90 through 99. And then I will draw in the amount for each one. So 60 through 69 goes to 2. So I might put these up by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And this would be 0, and this would be 12. So 60 to 69 was at 2. 70 through 79 was at 5. So that's in between 4 and 6. It's not perfect, but it will do. 80 through 89 is at 10. And then 90 through 99 was at 11. And then I would fill those in, and then I would have my histogram. Notice they had the labels on here for us. So that's something that we didn't have to write in, but the labels give us the information. Here are the scores, here's the number of students, and the test scores.